Alright, so if I want to add a control constraint or control to this rocket so that I can animate it, there are two ways of doing it. One, the kind of parenting setup, and the other is a constraint. So let's work through the constraint right now. First thing to do is select all the models, go to poly modeling, freeze the transformation, delete the history and freeze the transformations. Next thing to do is to go to curves and add a curve, and I'm going to move that curve up. I'm going to again go back to poly modeling, delete the history, freeze the transformations, and call this rocket control. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of the objects and I'm going to parent them or make them the child of the body. So I'm going to middle mouse drag them to the body. I'm going to change the name of this body. I'm going to call it rocket body. Let's call it model. Or we can call it, rocket poly modeling, yeah, model is good. Let's leave it at that. Okay, so the next thing to do is to constrain this curve to the body of the rocket, because if you do that, you'll get the whole rocket with it, right? You'll be able to move the whole rocket. So I'm going to select the curve here. I'm going to shift select the body. I'm going to go to the animation menu set, go up to constrain, and I'm going to use the parent constraint because that's going to give me both the transform and the rotation. If you use just point, that just gives you the translate. Just do orient, that just gives you the rotation. And of course you could add scale on if you wanted also. So go to the option box, parent constraint options, make sure that maintain offset is selected. If you reset the settings, you'll get that, and then you say add. Once the constraint is added, you'll see that if you have the group for our rocket body model selected, you'll see that these are all connected. The translates and rotates are connected to the control curve. Underneath here, you'll see that connection, parent constraint, and that's connected to this rocket control. So now if I move the rocket control, I move the rocket, and that's how you can connect those two. One last little bit of cleanup here is, for these, since we don't want anyone keying anything on the rocket, what you could do is select those, right click, and say lock and hide selected. So now if you try to key on the rocket, you won't be able to. So you select the control curve, and you could set these keys here. So I would highlight those and say key selected, move forward in the timeline, and move it. And so you can see now that is controlling it. And if I wanted to, I could do the rotation also. So both the translates and rotates are now being controlled by this curve.